Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Stay tuned until the end for a special offer. Hello everyone. I have another before and after art school comparison video for you all. I know I've made so many of these already, but now that I've finished my first year at an academic realism atelier, I couldn't resist sharing another one. In this video, I also wanted to reflect on this past school year and how it's affected me as an artist and as a person. Real quick before I start, if you'd like to see a 30-minute tutorial of this piece with instructional voiceover, along with hundreds of hours of exclusive content and monthly art rewards, feel free to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/happydartist. I started this painting in March 2021 as a single layer alla prima portrait that took about 2 hours. Since then, it's been sitting in my studio collecting dust. And yesterday, I finally decided to give this piece a second layer, using the new skills I had learned from school. The second layer took about 4 hours, and I really wanted to push myself to render as realistically as possible, even though I realized the features of the subject are still stylized to my typical alien doll proportions. But despite that, I wanted to pay attention to the correct anatomy, lighting, and value hierarchy, and also just take my time to include every subtle nuance on the face. Right around here in the video is where you'll see me start to add this new second layer, and I hope you enjoy watching the process of breathing new life into this old piece. And while we do that, let me share some sentimental thoughts about how this past school year has affected me. So other than the obvious new art knowledge and techniques I've picked up at school, I also realized that this past year has saved me in a way. I don't want to sound too cheesy, but I truly feel a new sense of inspiration and motivation to create art now. Prior to starting school, I was hitting a lull in both my work and my personal life. I had lost both of my beloved kitties last summer, and during that entire process, I sank into somewhat of a lethargic and unmotivated routine. In addition to that, I felt like I had hit a plateau in my skills and my ideas. My social media numbers, sales, and quality of my work had all been on a slow decline. Art no longer stimulated or excited me, and I found myself just doing the bare minimum to get by. I no longer had this inventory of visual stories that I couldn't wait to share. I felt like my pool of creation had dried up, and nothing could snap me out of this seemingly endless stagnation. I decided to sign up for a local atelier somewhat impulsively after venting to my partner about my roadblocks. I still remember telling him about how I felt restricted by my monthly social media deadlines and always needing to generate fresh content. That, coupled with my overall downtrodden state of mind, resulted in me making subpar art just to chase my deadlines. And he asked me, if you didn't have to worry about deadlines, social media, or anything else, what would you want to do? And I thought about it and realized I want to get out of the house and distract myself from being sad all day. I want to get better at painting. I want to push myself to learn more skills and see if I can eventually paint an epic giant piece that is worthy of being hung up in a museum next to the oil painting masters of the past, instead of always creating these small, bite-sized pieces just to fulfill my monthly social media deadlines. And then he very casually suggested, "It sounds like you should go to art school." And that all of a sudden just lit a light bulb in my head. But I still had all these reservations, like, what if I can't balance being a full-time student and working full-time? What if I miss the dogs while I'm away from home all day? What if we want to start a family and I'm not done with school yet? And he just reassured me. Humans are adaptable creatures. There are plenty of people who go to school and work, plenty of parents and pet owners who go to school and still find time to spend with their families. We will figure it out. And with his encouragement, I decided, screw it, let's do it. I'm just gonna Google some local art school programs, apply, and see what happens. And now, 1 year later, I couldn't be happier with that decision. Art school has reinvigorated me in so many ways. I feel like I'm falling in love with painting all over again. I was at first nervous to go to class in person due to being a hermit crab for the last 8 years and still being paranoid about COVID. Also, quarantine had stripped me of any social skills, and I was worried I would be awkward or weird around new people. But being in that environment turned out overwhelmingly positive. Art had always been a solitary activity for me, and being able to paint next to a room full of equally excited, passionate, and talented students was a joy I had never experienced before. It injected a new routine into my life and got me back onto a more productive momentum. It also allowed me to shut off the entire world for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and just indulge myself in the craft. And also knowing that everyone around me felt the same way created this electrifying energy I never even knew existed. I would wake up every morning excited to go to class and come home each day exhausted but glowing with joy, looking forward to the next day. When I studied computer science in college and worked in the tech industry, I always felt out of place. While others seemed to take to the material so naturally, I struggled to absorb and understand everything I was taught. It seemed like no matter how hard I tried, nothing in tech made sense to me, and I was constantly afraid that people would realize how dumb and incompetent I was. But now that I'm in art school, things actually make sense. When the teachers give me critiques and teach me new techniques, I'm not lost or confused. And even though the constant grind of striving for perfectly rendered realism is always stressful, it was a good kind of stress. It was a challenge that yielded meaningful results. Even fixing one small mistake on a painting felt like a huge win. Sometimes I can't help but wonder, what if I hadn't gone down the tech route and instead went to art school straight out of high school? But if this past year has taught me anything, it's that we shouldn't live in the past. We should never underestimate our own potential, even if we feel like we've missed our chance. It's never too late to change the course of your life. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, live a lifetime, learn a lifetime. And as long as I'm continuously learning new things, I'm living in the present and looking forward to the future. And I'm just so freaking excited for this journey to continue. I feel very grateful that as artists, we are not limited by a physical expiration date. We can keep painting until we pass 100, and we can learn new things each step of the way. And to me, that seems like a pretty fulfilling way to live. And that about wraps up today's video. Thank you all so much for listening to me gush and ramble on and on. I hope I was able to spread a little more positivity and inspiration and encouragement as always. If you're interested in adopting this painting, she's now available in my shop at happyd-artist.com. And as usual, if you want the piece at a huge discount, my never-ending sale is still going on in my shop. So if you'd like 20% off your order of prints and originals, just enter the code HOLIDAY at happyd-artist.com. And if you're interested in learning more about how to paint and draw, I have lots of art educational content on my Patreon page, including exclusive video tutorials, step-by-step photo tutorials, live streams, podcasts, and even surprise art gift boxes. All available at patreon.com/happydartist. I'd love to have you join my Patreon family. I wanted to quickly thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel and the art community. I've actually enjoyed using Squarespace for 4 years now to build and host my online shop and website. So whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com and visit squarespace.com/happydartist for 10% off your first purchase. Also, if you want to check out more artworks, works in progress, and just random daily artist adventures, feel free to check out my Instagram, and you can follow me at the handle @happydartist.